Hey, Donita here. Okay, so we're going into the cooler months, and every year my rosacea starts to flare. So I've been changing up my shade and also trying different things for the redness. Last year I used Aspen contour a lot, and it worked well to kind of mute down that redness. But I've heard a lot of people talk about June highlight, and it has a bit of a green hue to it. I don't know if you can tell by looking at it. But what I thought I would do is try Aspen on one side and June on the other and see which works better. So I'm using the buff brush, and I like it because it's got a tapered end. So this is Aspen contour. It's too light for me to wear as a contour, but it works really well to tone down this redness. And it's a contour, so it has a bit of a stiffer consistency, so it just works well with my 3D makeup. So there's that, and I have redness on the chin, like a lot of us do, and then I get redness around my nose. So we're just gonna compare the two. And this is June, so I'm going to do the same thing on the other side here. Because green is the opposite on the color wheel from red. So that's the theory behind why this works well. So far it looks about the same. Maybe they both work well. There's a little bit more redness on this side. I have been, for my main shade foundation, I've been mixing Sandy and Athens. Athens is too light. Sandy alone is just a little too dark. So I just kind of dip in both. So I'm just putting a very light layer. Today's Sunday, so I'm not doing anything crazy. I've got to go buy some Spanx. Like, what I want is like the bodysuit. Because I don't want the fat coming out one end and, you know. Anyway, it's a thing. I'm going to a wedding this coming weekend, and I think I need some. We'll try it. Keep me all sucked in. Okay, so I've got a light layer of my main shade on, and I like to go in with either a moistened beauty blender or my Stands Out sponge. And these are awesome. You can get them on Amazon. They're about $20, and they're memory foam, so they're just, I love it. If I remember, then I'll moisten my beauty blender, because I like it to sit out for a little while, you know, while I'm doing my skincare and stuff. So the next thing I always like to do, I've changed things up. I change it up all the time. I have two Bella bronzers right here, and I like to use the blush bronzer, the bronzer end. And I didn't think of that idea, by the way. My friend Michelle, she thought of it. But I like to do the bronzer first, because I then get to see kind of where I'm at. And I like to do the contour these days last, well, before my lip and cheek. So now I'm good and bronzed. I am going to go into, this is my brightening shade, Aura. And I just like to put a little bit kind of in a T right here, just to brighten. I'm not going to blend it all the way, because when I do my contour, then I'll finish it off. Okay, and let's do some contour, and I'm going to use the detail brush. And here's my contour. It's Astoria. And I have a large forehead. I don't know why I always wear my hair up like this. Probably because it's easy. But the contour and the bronzer helps to kind of slim the forehead. And then what I like to do is just kind of marry that brightening with the bronzer and contour. Kind of gives that ombre effect. So there we go. And now we're going to contour our cheekbones. You find your cheekbone, and then I go on it, and then I stipple up. And I don't go past the outside of my eye. This is always my hard spot, my hard side. I don't know why. I'm left-handed. I don't know if that has anything to do with it or not. See, I always tend to go out a little too far on this one. There we go. And now, let's do the jaw. So, I have jowls. I have a jowl right here. And I've learned that there's a dip right here. And I don't want to put contour on the dip. So, I've got it on the edge of my brush. And I'm going slightly in front of that jowl to disguise it. And then underneath the jaw. So I just go in that area right there. And then I kind of bring it down. But it just disguises that jowl just a little. And then we'll do it over here. It's hard to look in my phone and see. And then I have a bit of a turkey neck, so I like to put some underneath and then bring it down. Okay, and then if I feel like I did get contour in the dip, I can take a little bit of my brightening, just a little, because light brings things forward and dark recedes, so we don't want the dip appearing deeper. Okay, so now I'm going to tackle my dark circles, and I'm going to go into my Demi. This is Y01, and I'm using the spot brush, and I'm just placing it. I think I've got too much on my brush, which that's okay. And I keep this shade cleaning tile right there. So if I need to get off excess. I have melted this one down, and it seems like it made it softer. So I pick up more. But I just like to put a little bit on and then sit back and see how that looks. That looks a lot better. You know, I can't get rid of three-dimensional things. But that looks really good, okay? And now I'm going to take this fluffy end, and I get this little shadow here. And I think a little bit of this Y01 kind of helps that. Just kind of buff it in. And then I like to take a little bit of this just on that outer corner, because I get redness right there. And it tends to drag my eye down. So if I get rid of that redness, it helps open that eye up. So there we go. Now let's do this other eye. Get a little bit of Y01. And again, I got too much. Maybe I need to get a new one. But this just works so well. And you saw how much I put on. It's just such a small amount. Clean this off. And then I'm going to brighten those inner corners, and I'm going to do that with 01. This is a light peach shade. See where I stuck my finger in there? If you use this makeup, you know, I think I do it every day. If I just wouldn't even be tempted to get the tins out with my finger, I'd be all right. But I like to brighten the inner eye instead of using, you know, a bright eyeshadow. I like to use Demi 01. It's a matte. It sets, it's just beautiful. Okay, and then the last thing I'm going to do with Demi is tackle these dents. And I like to use this yellow shade. I believe it's Y1. But I can't do anything about the dent, and that's from wearing readers. And I try not to wear readers anymore, and it's just a permanent dent. And my sunglasses, you know, so I try not to wear those. Sometimes you have to. Okay, and then I get this, it looks like a kind of a line across. And I like to use 03, Orange 3, and you know you have the right color when it just disappears into your skin. There we go. So now for lip and cheek. It's my favorite. And I think I'm going to wear nude today. Nude, no one talks about, but nude is very pretty. So I want to put some on. And I may top it with a gloss, but I might not. But is that not beautiful? I just love nude. It's the only lip and cheek I ran out of and ordered more. So, no, I did the sandstone too. You know, we come out with nude lip and cheeks a lot, so you really don't use them all. But these two I did. I like to put blush on my forehead. I like to put it everywhere. Okay, but that is nude. And I think nude needs a little something. But let me first just clean it up a little bit, because I get carried away. So let's top it with just a little bit of Royal. Let me swatch Royal for you. I love it. It is so pretty. But look at that. Isn't that pretty? I love it. The fall colors are just my favorite. So let's just use a little bit with our fingers, because we don't want to use too much. And it's easy, as you can see, to use too much. But that's even prettier. Okay, and then we'll put it on our lips too. Okay, there we go. I won't even line my lips, so let's go in with nude. And then top it with Royal. So that's pretty. Okay, and now I like to take illuminator. This is pearl illuminator. It's hard to see on camera because it's white, but it's actually more translucent, iridescent. But I like to put some right there because, you know, I have lines and wrinkles, especially when I smile. So I do wear it there sometimes, but here I like it because I don't have wrinkles there. And I think that's very pretty. So let's put on some setting spray. This is Seint setting spray. I love it. But the trick is you have to shake it really good. It's so good. But it sprays rather harshly. But I like to let that dry, and I'll be right back. So now I'm going to go in with our Vanilla Dust setting powder, and I like to just set my T-zone. I like to set where I put the demi on my dents. I do not set with powder under my eyes. What I like to do is take just a little squirt of setting spray in my hand, and then I take the corner of the sponge and I set it like that. I get it just barely damp, and it sets all day. If, you know, we're going to have some creasing. If I notice it's creased a little, I just pat it out with my finger. So, okay, so I think this is a nice neutral fall look, and I'm happy with it. Okay, well, thanks for watching, and have a good day. I wanted to tell you, now that I've got my whole face on, what I think of Aspen versus June. I think they both work really well. I prefer Aspen a little bit only because it's a thicker consistency, because it's a contour. So I do think I like it a little better, but hey, June does a great job too. So, and I honestly have more redness on this side, so maybe it wasn't a fair comparison.